Hi, I'm Jerry Mars. I'm an attorney here at Horizon Elder Law and Estate Planning. Today I'm interviewing Bruce Raine. He's the owner of Income Tax Services of San Ramon. He's also an author, has written the book Attitude Determines Your Destiny. I'd like to start with Bruce and have him just give a little bit about his background and what he's done, including the fact that he was a professor at Hayward State for 25 years. So Bruce, tell us about yourself.
Morning, Jerry. Yeah, I've strangely enough, I'm a guy who loves accounting. When I was in first year out of university, I took an accounting class just for fun, and it's like, wow, this is the way my brain is wired. And so I quit my job, which was I was an officer in the Navy. I quit my job and became an accountant. And for the last 40 years, I've been an accountant. First, I was a CPA with Deloitte, and then I became a professor. And I taught at Cal State University in Hayward for 25 years. Taught accounting and computer systems. I've always had a fascination for income tax. So my goal when I retired was to get into income tax. And so I started to volunteer work when I was working with the elderly, doing programs like that. And then when I get out, I retired, I started my own practice. So this is my first full year in my own practice. Before that, I was working with other people, subcontracting, things like that.
Wonderful. Now, you know that we're focused on elder law and on veterans, by the way. You're a veteran and you've done work with the elderly. What specifically can you offer to the elderly of the San Ramon Valley that other tax preparers are not able to do? What makes you different? What sets you apart?
Well, one thing I emphasize is being sure that people take all the deductions they're entitled to. Too often people claim the income, but then they're afraid to claim the deductions because they're afraid the IRS is going to come and slap them on the wrist or something. So I really focus on doing that. And the other thing is with elders, if people get elderly and their income starts to go down, they tend not to file tax returns. And they feel, well, I don't owe taxes, so I don't have to file tax returns, which is correct. However, the only way the IRS knows you don't have to pay any taxes is if you file a tax return. So I encourage people, even if their income is getting lower, encourage them to still file tax returns. And they may be able to do that themselves, not have to go to an accountant if they've got now simpler income.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm pausing for a minute. What would you like me to ask next?
What's your typical, like, I don't know, do you work with businesses? Do you work with individuals? Like, who's your primary
What's your
client?
specialty?
Yeah.
So when you think about the elderly clients and the other folks you see, who is the perfect client for you? Who do you most enjoy working with?
Well, because of my background, I have 40 years experience in accounting. I'll try that. Because of my background, I have 40 years experience in accounting. And so if somebody has a small business or they're self-employed, that's really my ideal client because I can add a lot of value to them because they come in with some accounting records. I can look at those. I know what's going on. I know how to sift through and get the right information out of that. So I do work with individuals, I do work with seniors, but really small business and self-employed individuals are the people where I can really add the most value. And so half of my clients are small business, self-employed. And personally, I love real estate. I've been a real estate investor myself since I was 15 years old. So a lot of the things I do is working with real estate investors. That's to me, it's just fun because I would be doing that stuff for myself.
So I know that you work with real estate investors, but real estate in general. So one of the things that we see frequently is elderly needing to sell a home and worried about the deductions and worried about the step up in basis and those types of issues when you've had one of the spouses pass and how things are titled. How do you work with those folks to make sure that they're getting the most deductions? So when they do have to sell their home, if that comes to pass, that they can afford to pay for care, what are you looking for to make sure that they're taken care of?
The big thing is that people need to kind of do things in advance. So I know death of a spouse is not something you can plan. But if you're planning on selling, moving to a different county or something like that, then it's good to plan that, come in and see me in advance, and we can plan that. You know, I had a client this year who decided to take money out of her IRA to buy a house. And she was very conservative. She kept money aside for taxes, and it looked like a great idea. Unfortunately, she didn't plan for, there was a 10% penalty, there were state taxes, and at the end of the year, she was really swamped with taxes. So it's really good if you're going to do something to plan ahead, you know, especially if you're going to sell your house, move to a different county. And if you're under Prop 13, you want to make sure that you can transfer that. If you are going to have a huge gain, we want to make sure we time that or structure that correctly. If you're living in a home maybe that you rented part-time, or you have 2 or 3 homes, we can set that up where you can minimize your tax by making those sales on a strategic basis.
Okay. And then when you're working with somebody, how do you charge? Is it hourly or a flat fee? What works for you?
I tend to charge a flat fee. So if you came in and said, here's my tax return, and I would look at last year's tax return. Here's my tax return. Here's what's going on this year. I would give you a fee, and then that would be it. And then whatever time I spend on that is fine. If you phone me during the year and you have some questions, you know, that's just all part of the fee. If I do the hourly basis, it's a nuisance for me because I have to keep track of my time. But then in addition, you don't know what you're getting. You know, and I can run up a bill and you're expecting $500, and all of a sudden it's $1,500. So I would rather flat fee. If you're comfortable with the flat fee up front, then we're all set.
Great. Now, one of the things that we have to do fairly frequently is with our elderly clients is to go see them at their home.
Right.
Do you make house calls for folks who cannot get out of their home easily?
Oh yes, yeah, definitely. I've gone as far as Concord to meet with clients and get their records and go through. And typically, you know, divulging all of your financial information for some people is very uncomfortable. So if I go to their home, they're in their setting, and sometimes they feel more comfortable than sending it to me in the mail or dropping by my office, something like that.
The other thing that seniors frequently run up against is too much debt or too much debt spread out. Do you do anything to help consolidate debt?
I just wrote a new book, which is going to be coming out this month, called Achieving Financial Freedom. And the point of the book is how to manage your income so that you don't run up credit card bills, you don't run up debt. Because my feeling is that you should be debt-free, except for maybe a mortgage in your home. You should live debt-free because it's just too much stress. So yes, I can help people consolidate debt, you know, show them how they can eliminate their credit card bills and everything.
But more importantly, it sounds like you can keep people from getting that point in the first place.
Yeah, that's the first step, is that you never spend more than you earn in any given month. You know, because that's how you run up credit card bills. You spend a little bit more every month, and all of a sudden, after a year, you're $10,000 in debt. You don't know what happened. So my philosophy is that you spend less than you earn every month. Never take on any credit card debt or any consumer debt of any kind, and save for retirement. So for younger people, save for retirement so that when you become retired, you are financially free. Now, I'm not talking about being rich. I'm just talking about being free of debt. Because of the people who are retired in the United States today, over 90% of those people are not financially independent, which means that they're retired, but they can't go play golf, or they can't go to Hawaii for 2 weeks. They can't do the things they want to do because they can't afford it. For a lot of elderly people, they cannot even afford their health care. And I know a lot of people that are in their 70s still working, and the number one reason they're working is so they're covered by health care by their employer. So a little bit of planning when you're younger, a little bit of saving, then when you're retired, then you can pretty much do what you want to do.
Yeah, we see that quite a bit actually, and especially with the cost of healthcare today, it's extraordinarily expensive.
Right.
But so tell me, what organizations are you a part of?
Well, for years I was with Toastmasters, and that Toastmasters changed my life. They're just an incredible organization. And right now I belong to a few chambers and a few networking groups, and I'm volunteering right now with Hope Hospice in San Ramon, or Dublin, sorry, and I have friends that live in Santa Fe, and they have both been in hospice for years, and hospice just does wonderful service. So I'm starting to volunteer with them.
Okay, great. What areas in the Tri-Valley or beyond do you service?
Primarily from, say, Livermore around to Alamo. You know, I'd rather not go up into Walnut Creek, Concord a whole lot, just because getting on 680 going up there is just a nightmare. But to today's world, with all the conveniences we have in communications, I can do anything. You know, I have a client in Galala up on the coast. You know, I can have a client in Boston if they text me, or not text me, if they send me all of the stuff in email, you know, scan their old tax returns, or scan their stuff and send it to me, or mail it in. It's no problem at all. It's when you're doing income tax, it's more about the relationship than the return. So if I'm doing your tax return, number one is you have to trust me, and we have to have that level of relationship. Well, if we have that relationship, it's difficult for you to then just go to somebody else. So there's a great deal of loyalty in the income tax business. So when somebody moves to, say, Florida to retire, they don't want to get a local guy down there who they don't know. And so quite often they'll stay with their guy in California or wherever they're from. You know?
Yeah.
So it's not unusual for an accountant to have tax returns all over the country.
And do you do the complete return?
Yes, I do everything in my office in San Ramon. I've worked for companies where they sent it overseas and had all that stuff done. There's too many issues with security, and to me, it just wasn't worth the savings. You know?
Great. We've talked quite a bit today, but is there anything that you would like to add that we haven't covered?
You know, I'm retired. I have a good pension, and when I'm doing this business, I'm not out to make a killing. I am out to give good service to people who want to work with me. So if somebody becomes a client, I don't look at that as like, hey, I made another $500 or something. I look at that as this is somebody I'm going to be involved with for the next 10, 20, or 30 years. And so I want to establish a good relationship and then have that relationship go on so that they feel when they have any kind of financial question or problem, they can phone me up and say like, hey, we've got this issue. And if I can't help them, I can direct them to somebody who can help them out.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate you coming by to talk for a few minutes. If you're interested in getting a hold of Bruce, you can call him at 925-336-4518. Again, 925-336-4518. Or all of his information is on the Eldercare channel, which you can go to at eldercarechannel.com. We appreciate your time and hope you learned a lot from Bruce.
Great. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.